Okay, so Zombeavers, is it Dan?
Zombeavers.
Zombie and beavers, the combination
It's
that
a real.
probably shouldn't exist.
It's a real innovative name.
Yeah,
It's a movie that we watched recently that you found on Netflix.
wish I didn't.
Yeah, I kind of wish you didn't too. There were a few surprises, stuff that just caught me off guard in the movie. Some good, most bad.
I need to hear.
My first note that I had, so we both made notes while we were watching through the movie. My first note that I have is literally just Bill fucking Burr.
Holy shit, Bill Burr's in this?
I did not expect, of all the actors they could have found, for Bill Burr to be the first character you see.
And he's by far the best thing about this film, and he's in it for about 30 seconds, maybe?
I'll argue who the best is in a minute, because Bill Burr is the second best in this movie, I'll give you that.
Okay.
But there is a better actor.
That sounds sarcastic, but I'm sure it's not.
No. Well, we'll see.
I've got, so at the start, they're transporting this medical waste in barrels, on,
Yeah.
like this redneck truck type thing. Like there's no security to this whatsoever, and there's waste, medical waste.
It's a real odd job.
Yeah, I immediately just thought, this is just the first sign of this film is just...
Circling back to the best actor. So the opening scene, the three girls are in the car.
Yes.
The best actor in this whole movie is the Dodd.
Yes, it's a good shout.
The Dodd plays the part perfectly. There's no overacting. It's just natural. Even when it's face to face with the real beavers that they've sort of made.
Say it.
The real Zombeavers.
Yes.
that they've made. It acted as if it was scared, which is what it was supposed to do. It was more believable that the Dodd was scared than any of the other actors in this movie.
That's very true, yeah. It's immediately obvious that the lines for these characters were written by someone who thinks this is how young adults speak.
Yes.
It's just all sex jokes.
Yeah, that is all you're going to notice. It is every other line, and it's really weird. Just sex, and that's what the kind of the movie is, really.
Sex sells, Dan.
I think the Zombeavers is the subplot, to be honest.
It is.
And you know that because it took 30 minutes for them to show up.
Felt longer.
Yep. It felt like an hour had gone by, and it was only 30 minutes.
Because it's a fairly short movie.
Yeah, 70-minute runtime, something like that.
Yeah. Thank God. Unlike normal zombies, they seem to have a certain level of intellect and consciousness.
Oh, they're smarter.
Yeah, they seem to be able to make,
informed decisions.
Yeah.
Like cutting through the phone lines. My note is, my favourite line from the movie, that's what the beavers want.
We shouldn't turn on each other. It's exactly what the beavers want.
Yeah. That is the best line in the entire movie.
In any movie.
Yeah. That's what the beavers want. They sacrificed the dog, and I hate him for it.
And do you know what? Made it even worse was the fact that he throws the dog in the water, which is bad enough. And I thought, maybe he's doing it, and then they can quickly swim off the other way and get away. It's like a distraction. But no, they just all stand there and watch the dog get mauled, and then wait for the Zombeavers to turn around, and then they decide to swim away.
And I think they actually threw that dog, because the shot that they throw is quite a wide shot, which doesn't allow for much cutting out. But it does look like the dog is moving while it's being thrown in the air. Like its legs are moving. I'm not 100% sure if they did throw the dog. It had a life jacket on, so maybe it was safe and the dog liked it. And
of course, there was no real Zombeavers.
Yeah, obviously, that too.
The short guy who throws the dog, he is made out to be such an asshole in this film. It's so obvious that at some point he is going to be the victim of the most goriest death in this film, because he's such an asshole all the way through. You're just waiting for it. And he survives longer than I thought he would. I thought, holy shit, he's actually going to survive this film.
I thought him and the girl he cheated on his girlfriend with were going to make it out alive. I genuinely thought they were going to make it.
Yeah. But no.
No, that doesn't happen. And it's because his girlfriend turned into a beaver.
Yeah, what scene.
That was a great, leading up. I thought, okay, so for context, if you're not going to watch the movie, the douchey guy cheated on his blonde girlfriend with the other girl who was also at the cabin, and they were best friends.
And they were best friends, yes.
And they made it out like the blonde girl fancied the other girl. And that scene was building up. You thought, okay, they're done, those two are going to make it out alive now.
Yeah.
And then she starts turning into a beaver.
Out of nowhere, they survive as a Zombeaver attack and then come out and argue with each other, the three of them. And then the next scene is just like the one girl is in bed, like trying to sleep. Like they've just had an attack. And she just thinks, you know what? Tell you what, that was tiring. I'll pick this back up in the morning. And then the blonde girl comes in and tries to seduce her. It's just sex, this film. That's all it is. With a side of Zombeavers, obviously.
Yeah, that's all they want from it.
I'm not watching this for sex. Do you know what I mean? I'm watching this for some good Zombeaver action.
There's just a few moments where I was watching, especially when the phone lines were cut. So the Zombeavers did that twice.
Going back to the intelligence part of this.
And they were just super, super mindful of, let's cut the phone lines because then they won't be able to ring anyone. And it's like...
They suddenly learn and they're aware of what telephones are, like, and how humans do use them. And, and how they work. Like, they've gone from, like, beavers to literal, like, almost humans or human level of intelligence.
And I'll give them this. I would have accepted it if you saw the beavers or Zombeavers watching them use the landline.
Would you? You would have accepted that?
I would have accepted it a bit more if they'd saw the humans using the landline phone to call people and then they figured out that they could break those lines.
Yes, put the pieces together.
Only a little bit. I would have just liked that. They saw them do it. Okay, now Zombeavers know to cut the lines.
You would have let it slide.
I wouldn't have let it slide, but I would have accepted it a bit more. It would have made more sense of how they knew it happened, how they knew to do it, rather than, they just cut the lines.
Yeah, and they don't, like you said, they don't show it. You just see the lines are sort of ripped in half, and then there's a few like scratches on the wall, so you knew it was the beavers. So you weren't thinking, maybe it was, one of the characters had done this for some reason, plot twist. But no, the trademark 3 scratches, 3 red scratches on the surrounding wall make it pretty obvious.
I did think that too. I did think that it was the guy with the gun at the start of the movie. I thought he was going to come back as this big villain role. He was talking about him before, like, these beavers, like there's beaver fever come around here. And then made no point in him referencing that, because then he was like, but I ain't seen nothing like this before. It's like, well, why mention the beaver fever if it's nothing like what you're seeing?
I was hoping maybe he'd come back and be like, the leader of this new Zombeaver race.
Yeah.
And that's how they're so intelligent and they know about phone lines, is because he's like sat there educating them, like teaching them the way.
Yeah. He's just handing them little notes of what they need to do.
I've got a note here, Dan.
Okay.
It simply reads, 30 minutes in, and I'm struggling here. Nothing else.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can see how grueling this really was.
It is definitely, if you do listen to this and you go back and decide to watch it to, get your own notes and compare what we've said. 1, sorry.
And 2, don't.
Yeah, just don't. Just listen to this and then never watch the movie.
Ever. They take the guy who's had his foot amputated or whatever back to the cabin, and like normal people, they decide to go for the car.
Yeah.
But, like, instead of, a guy running out as fast as he can to the car and pulling up right outside the door, they decide to carry the guy who's had his foot bitten off really slowly to the truck and put him in. Surely one guy would just sprint out as fast as he could, pull the car up, and everybody crams in, and then they just drive away. But then this movie wouldn't be bad, and this movie obviously had to be bad.
Well, you just wouldn't have a movie, would you?
Maybe I'm the problem with this movie.
No, you're definitely not the problem with this movie. I can assure you of that.
Best thing about this movie was definitely the gag reel.
Yeah.
I mean, at least it looked like they had fun making this movie.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of the good thing for the actors, at least, is that even though they were in quite a terrible movie, they enjoyed making it to some degree, so...
Yeah.
It's not all bad for them.
Yeah, it must have been a nightmare if they hadn't had any fun on set.
Yeah. If he was a very serious director, it would have just turned out to be this awful film that they hated and probably never got hired for anything. Well, I haven't seen him in anything, so... The post-credits scene.
Yes, you've seen it. I was wondering whether you'd see it.
Yeah, I did.
I was wondering whether you sat through the entire credits to...
I did.
In case.
Yeah, because I had a feeling there'd be a post-credits scene.
How did you come to this feeling?
Because, again... So, my only note is the sequel to the movie is Zombies.
Yes, it is.
And that's my only note. And I hope, I really do hope this, that he didn't go on to make Zombies.
You wouldn't watch Zombies?
No, I definitely wouldn't, because I don't want another situation where someone gets, I guess, stung by a bee and turns into a bee. If
Zombies had been made, I'd have known about it.
Yes.
Says a lot about me as a movie fan. But the very few redeeming qualities of this movie, I think I would go back and watch the sequel. I feel dirty
I would too. So Buck, he's the only character name I remember.
Yes.
And that's because he was by far my favourite of the human characters in that group.
Okay.
But when he took a lot longer to turn into a beaver than any of the other characters, and he had a much more severe wound.
Yeah.
So I questioned how it took him so long, whereas the blonde girl was turned within like half an hour.
Yeah. But how long do you think it takes? Because usually with zombies, it usually kills you. You know, you get really sick.
Well, you have to die, don't you?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It kills you slowly. And then when you die, you sort of wake back up and you're the undead. Whereas in this movie, everybody just sort of turns into one when the plot needs them to.
Yep. That's how you know it's a bad movie.
So do you have anything to add?
About Zombeavers, just the ending. She manages to walk away.
Yep.
She manages to get quite far. On her like swollen ankle, twisted ankle, and then they bring back the two main characters of the movie, Bill Burr and his friend.
It's nicely rounded.
Yeah,
it ends where it begins. I like that.
But it makes me question: they've been there for a day, so unless the two truckers have done an entire loop of their route and they're doing the same route again,
yeah,
how they end up anywhere near that lake is beyond me.
Do you think they seen a Zombeaver and were just, like us, interested on where this would go? And just sort of sat back and watched, and then got bored and left, which is what we should have done.
Yeah, probably.
I think you should definitely pick the next movie.
Yeah,
because...
I'll have a stare around and see if there are any other movies. There's a few I have in mind that I've seen before. I haven't watched fully, but I've seen bits of.
Okay.
So I'll have a look at those and pick one.
Can't wait for another bad movie.